Okay, guys, let's start here with one more of your AP economics video for our class today. We're going to be talking about graphing monopolies. Okay, I know some of you have raised a little bit of concern, so that's why I'm doing this class to actually make you understand a little bit better about the graphs, actually the graph for monopolies. So what are the good news, Mr. Rhino? Why is it so nice and easy to learn about Monopoly? Well, because first, one only graph. Yes, we just have one graph. We don't have to. We don't need to compare firm versus industry because actually the firm is the industry in a monopoly, right? Number two, the cost curves are the same. So ATC, marginal revenue, marginal cost, marginal fixed cost, average total cost, average variable cost, average fixed cost. The marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost rule still applies, and the shutdown rule still applies. Okay, Mister, that's amazing. So what is the difference then? Well, it's pretty easy. The difference is for monopolies and actually for all the imperfect competitive firms, they have a downward sloping demand curve, right? Because the higher the price, the less the demand, since, right? They are not in a perfect competition. They don't have a horizontal demand line as the competition will have. Well, which means that to sell more, a firm slash an industry must lower its price, okay? This changes, consequently, our marginal revenue. Okay, does it make sense to you if I lower the price? Okay, well, the margin revenue now doesn't equal the price, and let's see why. Okay, so let's start here. If a certain company wants to sell a product by $11, nobody would buy, the total revenue would be zero. If they lower the price to 10, well, they can sell one person is willing to pay 10, their total revenue will be 10, and their marginal revenue from 11 to 10 is 10. Well, they sell, if they lower the price to 9, they can sell more quantity. So they would sell 2, and then the total revenue would be 18, making the marginal revenue to be 8. Right? From 10 to 18, 8. Then if I lower the price a little bit more, 8, they can sell 3. The total revenue would be 8 times 3, 24. And the marginal revenue would be 24 minus 18, right? On the third column. So marginal revenue for the fourth item, for the third item would be 6. If I follow the same structure to this price, look at what happens here. My price, except for, of course, 11 that I have 0 quantity demanded, and 10 that is the same as the marginal revenue. All the others, the marginal revenue is less than the price. So bang, the marginal revenue is less than the price. Oh my god, that's amazing. So, how to calculate marginal revenue again? Just as a reminder, quick, if I have quantities sold or demanded times the price, when I multiply them line by line, I would get the total revenue. So 0, 15, 28, 39, 48, 55, 60, 63, 64, 63, 60. Oh my god. Right, mister. So marginal revenue is actually subtracting the revenue on the item I want by the previous one. And that's when I get these marginal revenues. Check again. Pause the video if you have any questions. Stop, see the calculations if they make sense to you, and then continue. Well, look at this. Price is actually higher than marginal revenue. So marginal revenue is less than price. Amazing. How does it imply, what does it imply, sorry, in the graph for price and for total revenue? Well, price is here. So if my demand is downward sloping, and as I told you, my marginal revenue is gonna be always less than the demand, except for the first one there, as you can see. What happens to the total revenue when the marginal revenue hits zero? Let's think a little bit. Okay, look at this. Let's come back to the cost. So my marginal revenue, my total revenue is increasing 0, 15, 28, 39, 48, 55, 60, 63, 64. Then it turns down 63, 60. So returning to the graph, when my marginal revenue hits zero, it is actually when my total revenue hits its peak. So total revenue is at its peak when marginal revenue hits zero. Okay, does it totally make sense? Perfect. Now, when we have elastic and inelastic range of demand curve, yes, we do have it here for monopolies. Let's think a little bit. Let's do the total revenue test. If price falls and my total revenue increases, then the demand is elastic. Think about our equation for elasticity. Okay, my price falls, my total revenue increases, so the demand is elastic, which means it is this first part of my graph until the total revenue reaches its peak. Then, if price falls and the total revenue falls, then my demand is inelastic, which is the second part of my graph after the peak, or when the marginal revenue hits zero. So pay attention to this test. It's really, really important. A monopoly will only produce in the elastic range. Now, why? Stop and think. Why would a monopoly only produce in the elastic range? Easy, right? Because they actually want to have as much as total revenue as they can. When they reach its peak, they know after that, which means when their marginal revenue becomes zero, they know that after that, they will start losing money. The total revenue will be less, and they will be producing a lot. Why would they do that, right? Who would do that in life? Produce more just to sell by less and get less revenue? Nah, that's not economy. That's why we go to maximizing profit. This is our graph. Oh my God, the graph of your life. Yes. What output should this monopoly produce if you think about this? Remember, marginal cost is equal marginal revenue is where I should be producing, which means it needs to produce 6 in this situation. Now, how much is the total revenue, the total cost, and profit or loss of this company? Stop, think, draw, calculate, and then play again. Well, if you answer that the profit is 6, because actually it's what goes from above the average total cost till it reaches the price on the demand. So from 6 to 7, I have a variation of $1. And because I produce 6 products, 6 times $1, $6. That's my profit. Okay. My total cost will be 6 times 6, $36. My total revenue, I go up to my demand curve here, and I multiply 7. So 7 times 6, 42. So 42 is my total revenue. 36 is my total cost. So 42 minus 36, also 6. There are 2 ways of calculating that, okay? There's a loss? No. Why? Because the price is more than the marginal revenue. Price is more than the total cost, the average total cost. Okay, that's really important. So conclusion, a monopolist produces where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost, but charges the price consumers are willing to pay, identified by the demand curve. So if I actually go here I know that my demand curve, people are willing to pay 7, while I'm not selling them at 7. If I, even though I can produce at 6, my average total cost would be 6, I can sell at 7, I know I'm getting profit. Let's keep on working, right? Let's make profit. Now, what if costs are higher? My costs are higher than the demand curve. How much is the total revenue, total cost, and profit or loss of my company? Stop, think, calculate. Great. So there will be a loss, right? And the loss is exactly here, since where my MR equals MC is my desired point for production. So I'm producing 10, my quantity is 10, okay? But my demand, so people are willing to pay 9 for each of the products, which means I am getting $90, $9 times 10 products, $90. But my total cost is 10, so $10 by 10 products, 100, which means that my total revenue is 90, my total cost is 100. I'm having a loss of $10. Okay? Now, identify and calculating this one. TRTC, profit or loss per unit. Stop, pause the video, please try it on your own, and then after you play. So if you identified that 7 times 10, which means 70, is my total revenue, you're right. Because again, I need to produce where MC is equal MR. So this is my point of production. Point of production is at $9, 7 units. But my total revenue is where I hit the demand. My demand curve hits here, so I go to $10 times 7, 70. My total cost on the same line of 7 quantities, I go to my average total cost, which is 8. 8 times 7, $56. Am I having a profit or a loss if my revenue is higher than my cost? I'm making a profit of how much? 14. I just subtract them. Easy peasy. Now, how much is my profit or loss per unit? Well, that's easy. If my profit and loss is $14 and I'm producing 7 units, I just divide $14 by 7 units and my profit or loss per unit is $2. So my question now is, are monopolies efficient? Let's talk about a little bit about monopolies versus perfect competition. In a perfect competition here, when I produce this quantity of perfect competition and price of perfect competition, where my supply, which is equal to my marginal cost, and then here's my demand, so where they meet is my equilibrium point. I have a consumer surplus, I have a producer surplus. In perfect competition, the consumer and producer surplus are maximized. Okay, what happens in a monopoly? Well, my marginal revenue is lower than the demand curve. So this is my quantity on a monopoly and my price in a monopoly. I can produce less but sell for more. Does it make sense now? Monopoly, yeah? Sell for more, produce less. Really efficient. Uh-huh. That's what I just told you. So where is consumer surplus and producer surplus for a monopoly? Think a little bit. Stop the video. Think. Great. So my consumer surplus will be actually this area above the price in monopoly and now this triangle on top. And where's my producer surplus? Everything down the line of the price of monopoly, always aligned with my quantity to be produced at a monopoly, which means I am going to have a dead weight loss because the total surplus falls. So monopolies underproduce and overcharge, decreasing the consumer surplus and increasing the producer surplus. Hope it makes sense to you. Now, are monopolies productively efficient? Does the price equal to the minimum of average total cost? No, they are not producing at the lowest total cost. The total cost is here, and they are producing at the yellow part, which means they are always producing at a fewer quantity. Now, are monopolies a locative efficiency? Well, which means when I ask about a locative efficiency, does the price equal to marginal cost? Neither, because price is greater, the monopoly is always underproducing. Monopolies are not efficient. So monopolies are inefficient because they, letter A, or number one, sorry, they charge a higher price. Number two, they don't produce enough. So they are not allocative efficient. Three, they produce at higher costs because they're not productively efficient. And they have little incentives to innovate. Why? Think about why do they why don't they have incentives to innovate? Guys, there is basically no external pressure to be efficient. They're the only firm in the market. Why do they have to be efficient? People will still buy them, right? So I'd like you to answer these questions. Stop, answer. You should know all the answers so far. If you don't know, come back to the video or check the slides again. I'll be posting the slides, get the answers. But my last question is really important. Guys, are you eating vegetables while you're on quarantine? What do you prefer, steamed or raw vegetables? I'm still in doubt. I think I prefer raw because I don't like to spend time cooking. So I just get them from the refrigerator and it just kind of easier, right? What about you, steamed or raw vegetables? That's my question, huh? We're gonna skip a little bit about natural monopoly. I'm going to post this video later for you to talk a little bit of lump sum versus per unit taxes and subsidies. It's an amazing video from ACDC. I cannot do better than him. That's why I'm putting his video. And I'm gonna give you some time to answer this question. So question number 12, you are going to read, pause, and then I'm going to show the answer. So read and pause now. Okay, so if your answer is E, you're right. Monopolies are considered inefficient because they lead to an under-allocation of resources in the affected market. Next question. A monopoly is different from a perfectly competitive firm in a monopoly is that a monopoly? Pause the video now. Okay, if you answered C, you're right. Has a marginal revenue curve that lies below the demand curve. Damn, you're right. Next, a single price monopolist's marginal revenue is, oh my god, that's so easy. I told you many times during the class. Marginal revenue is less than the price. Yes. Another one. Which of the following is true if a monopolist's marginal revenue is negative at the current level of output? Think about, refer back to the graphs, pause the video. Now I'm going to show you the answer. The answer is C. Well, the only one that is true. Demand for its product is price inelastic. As I told you, when you go over the total revenue curve, okay, when it becomes to be the marginal revenue becomes negative, is when it is after it reaches its peak of production. Okay, a merger of two firms may increase economic efficiency by, think a bit, pause the video. Pause the video. I said pause. And the answer is A, decreasing average total cost through an increase in economies of scale. Sorry, we talked about it last class. This is the last question I wanna leave for you to check. I'm gonna leave it here. You pause the video and you try to solve it, and then at the last slide I will put the answers. So pause the video now, do it calmly. I hope you have already done it because now I'm going to show you the answer. The answers are here. I'm gonna leave the screen for at least 5 to 10 seconds while I speak. You can pause the video to check your answers. Ask me any questions in our chat, okay, if you have any questions about it. After that, guys, please refer to your Google Classroom and do your attendance task for the day. Thank you. I hope you appreciate it. I hope you have a little bit, you have less confusion in your mind about the graph. If you have more trouble about it, please let me know. Okay, and don't forget to keep watching your live sessions on micro and macro and on YouTube that are free, especially from AP College Board. Okay, it's going to be important for you. Thank you so much. See you next day. Bye bye.